Hey guys, it's the Big Texan here again. Uh, had to cut the first video a little short. My granddaughter came in through the house, and she always loves to talk. So she opens the door, and it's like, "Hello, everyone, I am here." But this one is just going to be a tad bit longer because I love knockoff wrestlers. There's a bunch that looks like Hasbro that I've picked up. I think they're called IWC. I have a few carded. I have a few open. But I went on eBay and was just looking knockoff wrestlers, and I stumbled across this lot of them. And I don't know who the maker is. And they look cool from a distance, but as you get close to them, they're cool, but they're so funny looking. Now, I'm going to start off with a couple that you might recognize just from the outfits. Like, this is Rey Mysterio. And the funny thing about these is, they got the tattoos and everything, but this is such a light plastic. I mean, they're hollow, and the plastic is hard, but it's such a light material. So we got Rey Mysterio. And they all got a bizarre feature. Like this Mysterio. Check out that mouth. The mouth is his bizarre one. We have Chris Jericho. But look at those traps. It's so light, it just freaks me out a little bit. We got Brock Lesnar. Not a bad looking figure, like I said, from a distance. And actually his head don't look too bad. This is probably the best of the knockoffs. And you'll see. This Dave Batista doesn't look too bad either. Like a young version of Dave Batista. I wish you guys can feel this plastic because it is so light. And I'm not even too sure I'm going to keep these ones. I really like the Hasbro knockoff ones. They look like they actually belong in the Hasbros. Maybe from a distance, again, this will belong in, a regular Mattel line, or maybe even the BCAs or something like that. This is a weird Triple H. I've never seen him in a silver getup, but that is definitely supposed to be a Triple H. We have like a vampire type of Randy Orton. And look at that face there. That face looks so weird. But, they do have the tattoos. And I did just a couple minutes of research on these. And, like, this might have been series 1. Well, there's so many of them, maybe 1 or 2 series. But after a while, they stopped putting these tattoos on them. So they just came out plain Jane looking ones. We have another vampire face head looking, I think this was supposed to be Edge. Look at that. That head, man. That head is weird. But it doesn't even have an R. It's got an E. I guess for Edge instead of the rated R superstar. This Rock is probably the funniest looking one too. That head sculpt just looks horrible. But you can obviously tell it's supposed to be The Rock. It does have the Bramble Bull. And of course that other long pattern of his heritage. But his head just looks so bad. We got a funny looking Undertaker. With his tattoos and everything. Of course, Undertaker has a lot more tattoos than what they put on here. But again, that head sculpt. I mean, these are so bad, but they're so good looking. And it's kind of hard to explain. And then there's a Kane. Now, the back of Kane's head, it's not black. It's more like a really dark gray. It's just weird. But again, I know it's on camera, but I just wish you guys could be able to feel these things, because I mean, they are so light. I think I'm going to keep them in the collection just for a while. I mean, the collection is so huge that I eventually, over time, will have to start trimming this down. And, you know, if you ever come to any SICW show, you'll see parts of my collection, you know, because for sale, because I buy lots sometimes, and then, you know, I'll stumble across a bunch that I already had. Or sometimes there's just figures of people that I don't care for, so I'll just sell those particular ones. But yeah, so very cool. You know, I got some other little weird knockoffs. You know, this is a knockoff from the LJN Thumb Wrestlers. I'm just gonna unhook this cabinet here real quick, because the IWC makes like these Hasbro knockoffs. You know, that's a Hulk Hogan. Not too bad. It's in the same, you know, structure and the size of a Hasbro. They did go a little wild on some. This is supposed to be an atom bomb. Still very cool looking. I mean, you can tell it's supposed to be an atom bomb, but he's definitely taller than a normal Hasbro. We got a very young Shawn Michaels. You know, early and not, I mean, I don't know where that tattoo comes from. But I think the most recognizable one, and I actually had this one as a kid, and I actually had them in my Hasbros, because I didn't know any better. I thought this was actually the real deal, but this is Razor Ramon. I mean, he looks exactly like Razor, you know, as good as a toy can get, you know, especially back in the day. But I actually had, not this particular one, but I had one just like it, and I had it in my Hasbro collection. And the funny thing is, if you do research on these IWCs, they used to sell them in Dollar General, and they were like $1.99. Nowadays, you can probably pick them up for like 10 or 12 bucks. Even though they're knockoffs, they still carry some weight in retail value. But those are my knockoffs that I've picked up. Mainly, I picked these guys up. I've had the IWCs for quite a while. And I've been slowly picking up one here or there when I find them for a good price. Because in the end, I don't like to pay too much for my stuff, so I like to get the deals. But yeah, so knockoffs are cool. You know, if you start running out of things to buy, you can always go for the knockoffs, because they're almost like the real thing. And sometimes I think they're sometimes cooler and better than the real thing. The IWCs, I really like them. These ones, I just like them because they're so bad they're good. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. But thanks for tuning into the channel. Please like and subscribe and share. I'm trying to make 2 or 3 of these every week, along with my wrestling matches and the wrestling shows that I attend and work in. But all right, my dogs are barking, honestly. So I'll let you go, and I'll see you next time.